Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we got us a bona fide math problem. Okay, so what you've got here is something called cube roots. You know how with a square root of something, what you're doing is finding what times itself equals that number under there. So you'd say, oh, that's 2 times 2 equals 4, so therefore the square root of 4 is 2. Okay? So essentially square root is the opposite of squaring something. Okay? That's essentially what it is. Now, whenever we are doing square root of stuff, we always look for these numbers, 4, 9, 16, 25, etc. Why do we look for those numbers? Because they're called perfect squares. That means that if we can break down a number, like say you've got 8, we can break that down to radical 4 times radical 2, which means that once we do radical 4, it's a regular 2. And then we can just leave it like that. It kind of helps us simplify it as much as we can. Okay, so whenever we work this problem, this is a cube root. So it's a little bit different. We're not looking for just the square root. Cube root means we want something that was times itself, like 2 times 2 times 2 equals 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So if we had radical 8, we could just say, oh, that's straight up, cube root of 8, that'd be straight up 2. Okay, so let me kind of clear the page a little. You need to go up here. Bye-bye. Okay, so for this one, you know how the other one we were looking for, 4, 9, 16, 25, because if we get the square root of each of those, it's a solid number. You know, square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, square root of 16 is 4, etc. This time, we're going to do it with cube root. Okay, so to work ourselves backwards, we would do essentially 2 cubed, which is 2 times 2, which is 4 times 2, which is 8. We can do 3. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. And then 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 is 64. Okay, so essentially we're looking for these numbers underneath this little guy right here. Alright, now as we start the problem, what I want to do is I want to split it up into chunks. I want to just deal with the stuff by itself, okay? So dealing with that first one, which is 24. I want to see if any of these three go into that evenly. Well, it's pretty easy because 27 is already too big, so is 64. It's way too big. Nintendo 64, though, is a great gaming console, and I highly promote it, especially Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart and GoldenEye. Don't tell anybody. Diddy Kong Racing. Okay. Now, does 8 go into 24 evenly? Yes, it does. All right, so we can break this down. Cube root of 8 times cube root of what times 8 equals 24? Be 3. So cube root of 3. Now, what's the cube root of 8? That's what we were going for here. We know that 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8, so therefore the reverse of this would be 2. So therefore it's a solid 2, out of prison, bye-bye, not inside the radical sign, happy, happy, joy, joy. So we can bring the rest down. The 3 is still in there. And then we haven't dealt with these yet. X to the 7th, y to the 6th. Now, this is actually even easier, okay? Like I said, the opposite of, let's say you have radical x squared. These two cancel out because this is essentially multiplying it times itself, and this is essentially, I guess, dividing by itself, and that's probably not the right terminology. Who cares? It cancels it out, and it's just x. So therefore, this would mean that this is going to cancel itself out, right? And it's just going to be x. That would help it get out of radical prison. Now, with this x to the 7th, that can be broken up to 3 radical x to the 3rd, 3 radical x to the 3rd, and then 3 radical x, which means that would get out and that would get out. So how many x's got out? 2. So it'd be 2x squared, 3 radical, and we bring everything else down. The 3 is still there. We've still got an x in there, and then we haven't dealt with the y yet. So it's y to the 6th. Alright, and then we can do the same thing for y to the 6th. That would be y to the 3rd, 3 radical y to the 3rd, 3 radical y to the 3rd. Cancel out, you're left with 2 y's out of prison. 2x squared, y squared, and then you got to leave what's left. 3x, and then all of our y's are gone. And you're done. You've got your answer, and you are more smarter than you was previously.
Hey, Tyler here. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out tarveracademy.com.
Dun, 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 dun.